Welcome back. An important, serious, but in some ways hopeful topic next up. Here in Summit County, we face situations and dynamics that are right across our entire nation, and it seems as though in 2018 it is part of the national conversation more than it ever has been. And of course, vigilance is a topic and an important part of what we need to continue to achieve with respect to people who have challenges with substance abuse problems. And here in Summit County, I'm joined by three fellows who are dedicating large amounts of very important time to this topic and helping people get their lives back on track. I am joined, and I gotta look to this one because my cold has got me a little scrambled in my head this morning. So we are joined by Lieutenant Andrew Wright, by Roy Parker and John Evans, and we're going to talk about Summit County's advances in taking care of these issues. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the work that you're doing. You guys are on the front lines, and I'm sure that there must be real challenges and there must be emotional times for you guys. That being said, it feels to me like we have great programs in place, and that here we have groups of folks who are working together to help people get their lives back on track.
Correct.
Morning. Thank you.
Absolutely. Roy, talk a little bit about your work with the program and how you're interfacing with these guys.
Yeah, I am the director of the Summit County Recovery Foundation, which is a small not-for-profit that supports drug court here in Summit County. Work very, very closely with John as we support people who run into problems with criminality in Summit County, opt for recovery by way of drug court, are accepted into drug court in an agreement between the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, Public Defender's Office, and then work with a team, specifically Valley Behavioral Health, the Summit County Sheriff's Department, the Recovery Foundation, Prosecutor's Office, Public Defender's Office, and Park City Police Department in order to enter a recovery program as an alternative to incarceration and or criminal sanctions. And 18 months later, after an intensive recovery program, people leave our program sober. And I'd say one of the most inspiring components of helping people to get sober and change their lives is the way that John Evans, Felicia Sotelo from the Sheriff's Department work so closely and vigilantly not to put people in jail, but to keep them in program, keep them working so that they can recover their lives.
Every situation, every person's experience is unique, but John, if you would talk a little bit about your experience in seeing how things have changed over the years, and also maybe share kind of a for example of the kind of process that someone would go through.
So usually people that come into our drug court are arrested on drug and or alcohol charges. Like Roy said, between the prosecutor's office and the public defender's office or a defense attorney, they qualify them for our drug court. Our job as the sheriff's office is when they plea into drug court, we supervise them. We're the boots on the ground in the community. We're going to their house, visiting them. If they don't show up to programming, Valley Behavior calls us, or Roy will call me, and we'll go out and find them and bring them to group.
Wow.
As alternative for jail's our last resort to go to. We'll do community service. We'll work through their problems to get them to be successful. Jail obviously has not worked in the past, and that's why we don't go to the jail all the time. And it's everybody in the drug court, they contact me every single day, 365, 7 days a week.
Wow.
It's a full-time job, but it's at the end of the day, it's very successful if the person wants to get sober.
Of course, in 2018, we have pernicious drugs that didn't exist 20 years ago. That being said, we also have what is, as I said at the outset, it seems like a very hopeful kind of expectation with respect to the fact that you guys are ostensibly law enforcement officials, and yet you're a part of the solution in this case. Being in touch with these people, and Andrew, I'm sure that you have a lot of these experiences as well. The smile on your face certainly has to be a hopeful part of seeing and working with people it's a hard process. It isn't easy to get sober, but you must see a lot of people who are willing to engage in that struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sheriff Martinez a couple years ago recognized that the way that the legislature, Congress, society is moving toward this, helping people get through recovery rather than lock them up and let them sit there and do their time, that doesn't really accomplish anything. If we can provide those resources of education and assistance and the supervision to help them stay on track and see the reward that's associated with recovery, we feel up here in Summit County with our partnership with Roy and all the other organizations, including Park City Police, that our partnership has kind of led the way in the state of Utah. We've been very successful. John and Felicia, the deputies that are assigned to this program, have been recognized by our county council for the job that they're doing. They supervise, to my understanding, you're around 60
We're
people.
about 95.
Oh, so they've grown since last time we talked.
Wow.
95 offenders that are assigned to 2 deputies who create relationships with these people, build that trust, and realize that we in law enforcement, we're the enforcement branch of society, but we can also be human and be a counselor, so to speak, and keep them on track to have a successful recovery. And so, at the Sheriff's Office, this is something that we truly value. We value our relationships with everyone who has come together as this big team to say, hey, we can help society, we can make a difference, and kind of put on that different hat in law enforcement that typically we haven't done in the past.
Absolutely. And simply the fact that the techniques and the procedures that you all are using means that these offenders have more of a human touch. By the same token, you're keeping people out of the public services, logistical, financial commitments of putting people in jail. These are people who can continue to work and be productive parts of our community and of society. And Roy, you have to have some really great experiences with seeing some of those people, as you had mentioned earlier, that you can recognize that light in their eyes, that they're coming back to the side of life that we all want to be a part of.
We meet people in jail who are destitute, and by that I don't mean financially, but in terms of their health, in terms of their spirit, they're addicted. And again, with the prosecutor's office and the public defender's office, sheriff's department, we screen who might be successful, who wants recovery, rather than the revolving door of in jail, out in the streets, in jail, how to recover someone's life. And and we have folks who come out of jail with absolutely nothing. They have no place to live, they have no clothing, they have no food, they have no job, and in partnership with John and Felicia, Detectives Evans Sotelo and the Sheriff's Department and the Summit County Recovery Foundation, we find them a place to live. We find them a job. They start with working with Valley Behavioral Health, and their recovery starts to flourish. And 18 months later, they are different people. Really important to note also that the Health Department at Summit County and Summit County's efforts to take the pulse of the mental health, substance abuse needs of the county, done about 18 months ago in a county survey, and then efforts by Dr. Bulla and the entire public health department to look at issues of mental health, substance abuse, and then to focus along with the Community Foundation in terms of support for not incarcerating, but helping to recover people's lives. And I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic. I say to the people we work with, not my fault I have a disease, my responsibility to manage it, and yet addicts need to learn how to live sober. And that's part of what we do as a team in order to help people to flourish.
And now we can see that this network of support and from maybe untraditional places, when somebody has an experience with a guy with a badge helping them out. I mean, to me, that's really powerful.
And as the guy without the badge, I can't laud enough the efforts by the Sheriff's Department and Park City Police, to a lesser extent, to what do we do to support, keep people in program, keep people in work, keep people at home? Detectives Sotelo and Evans, John and Felicia, they're going to take people out to lunch and talk with them before they take them to jail and put them in a holding cell because they want them to reclaim their lives. And they're extraordinary, the effort they put in.
It's really beautiful. It occurs to me that perhaps we talk all the time on this program about how fortunate we are to be here in this amazing, small, but really vibrant community. It occurs to me that maybe in some ways, Park City is a case study because of our smaller size, because you all have the opportunity to be able to spend time with these offenders and allow them to see that there are people who care, who are a part of the infrastructure of our community. And we're absolutely grateful for the work that you guys do. I could stay here and talk for an hour. We so very appreciate what you do, and we appreciate you coming in and talking about your work so that folks in the community, not just here in Park City, but beyond, see what's possible, not only on behalf of a foundation that is concerned, but also on behalf of law enforcement. And would you guys like to share social media or information that's available online for folks who may want to learn more about your work?
You can go on. The National Drug Court Association has a great website. Just Google National Drug Court, and it explains drug court nationwide is the same. The layout's the same. Every drug court's a little different, but they want more information. They can call the sheriff's office and ask for Detective Evans, and I'll gladly talk to anybody about it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yep.
Summit County Recovery Foundation, people can contact me through Valley Behavioral Health. I also work there as a peer support specialist, and they're kind enough to let me use an office in order to connect the dots with the Sheriff's Department in Valley as well.
Andrew, John, Roy, we're going to have a lot of stars in town next week. You guys are stars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, we're going to take a break. The show continues on right after this. Please stay tuned.